Hello crafty friends, today I'm going to show you 5 cards I've made using the Crafty Courtyard by Pink & Main December kit for 2022. For card 1 I'm starting off by using some perga glue, and I'm going to use that onto a die cut, and the die cut says Warm Wishes, and you can see it's in 2 parts. This is a Pink & Main die that came with a previous winter kit. And I'm applying some of the sticky ink onto the tops of my letters, and just applying a light amount on the top edges, and I'll give that a minute or two to go tacky. Once it is tacky, I've got my super fine or ultra fine glitter, and I'm just dusting that on there. And you can see the glitter is very shiny. It's very pretty, but when the ink has completely dried, you'll see much more of that shine. Now I'm going to get the leftovers of my glitter, put it away in its container, and this glitter comes in a 6-pack, as you can see there, and I am then going to give that ink a little bit more time to dry, and I'm going to attach pattern paper to the front of my card. And you can see I've used that beautiful aqua blue snowflake card, and I'm going to, on top of that, place a strip of the really sort of more the darker purple gingham, and I'm going to place that towards the bottom of my card, but allowing a little bit of the background paper to show. I then have another thinner strip of the border patterned paper, and I've just cut a strip from the pattern paper, so I've got the hearts and the dark grey line. To that, I'm then going to take a heart die cut that I've cut out of the dark purple paper in our kit, and it's a beautiful purple. Onto that, I'm then going to attach the 2 separate segments of my glitter encrusted sentiment. For my sentiment, I did cut out the die cuts several times using some scrap white card that I had left over, and that gives it a little bit of dimension and gives those thinner parts of the letters some stability as well. Next, I've cut some of the mittens from the pretty paper we have, and I'm just going to glue the outside frame on first. Then I'll come in and I will fill in that frame with more patterned paper. So to do this, I had to cut the mittens out 3 times. So one in the paper for the outline, one in white so I could have the white trim on the top of the mitten, and then a 3rd time using the purple snowflaked paper. And that means I've now got spare parts for when I want to make more mittens. To my card now, I'm going to place on a little bit more sparkle. So I'm pulling in some of the beautiful enamel dots that are in the kit, and I'm using a variety of the sizes that we have. I'm making sure I use some of the large ones as well as the small ones, so that you're not left with lots of big ones and used up all your small ones. So there's my first card finished, and you can see the glitter on the top of the letters there. It looks lovely. Card number 2, I'm going to have some messy fun. I'm bringing in this zinc glitter paste, and it's great because it's in a tube and it's easy to squeeze out what you want to use each time. You don't get left with lots of excess. And the great thing is, being in the pouches like this, you don't have to worry about them drying up so quickly because they're not exposed to lots of air. So they really will keep a very long time without going crusty or dried in the container. And I am using my scrapbook.com, I don't know, stencil mate scraper, and I'm going to use that to help move my glitter paste around the stencil. And this is the stencil in the kit with lots of the mittens and snowflakes and hearts and stars and just lots of prettiness. And I've chosen the Eyes Ink glitter in this beautiful turquoisey blue that goes very nicely with the colour that we have in our kit collection. So using the good old trusty finger tool there to help scrape up any of the excess on the stencil and then repositioning it onto the scraper where I need it, or just using my finger to go in and finally fill in any spots that may have been missed. So I will now carefully take off my stencil, and I've used my silicone mat there to do the stenciling on, so that'll clean up nice and easily. So I'll let my stenciled card dry and I'll go and wash off my scraper as well as my stencil. While my glitter paste is drying, which won't take very long, it does dry very quickly, I'm going to organise the background for my card, and I'm using this striped paper covering the whole of my A2 card front. Then I have brought in some Pink and Main dies here, and I'm using one of the tag dies, and I've also cut using the fishtail banners from Pink and Main, 2 banners that I'm going to use on the card. So you can see here I've cut 3 tags, 2 from pattern paper and 1 from the glitter stenciled paper that I created before. The die set I use from Pink and Main also has a separate little heart detail that you can use to make a hole in your tag, which is what I've done there. And then I'm going to take the stenciled card and I've popped that up on some foam tape. And I know I've said before in other videos, my foam tape looks a little yellow. It's getting older, but it's still perfectly fine to use. I just apply a little glue to make sure that it will definitely stay stuck. So I've just laid down my first fishtail banner in purple, and then I've stamped out the sentiment from our stamp set, and I'm placing that on top of my purple fishtail banner. I've brought in some of these pretty gems from Pink and Main, and I'm going to add a little bit more sparkle around my sentiment there. And I've gone with the blues and purples in variety of sizes there, and I'm just going to place them around my sentiment to really bring emphasis to what the sentiment is saying. And once I've got all those glued in place there, I'm going to get ready to add some final touches. So I've taken a piece of pale pink chiffon or organza ribbon, and I'm attaching that to the center tag, and I will weight that down so that the glue and the ribbon make good contact with the tag. I'm then going to come in and add 3 more of our crystals or acrylic stones to the bottom right corner of my card, and then I'll go ahead and add a couple more to the top left corner, and that way we've got some of those pretty sparkles across the card front. And that is second card finished. And now for card number 3, I'm taking inspiration from the card that's in our kit, and I'm going to recreate the card or the image on the kit into a card. So I've taken the very bright and pretty coloured paper and covered my whole card front. Then I'm going to bring in some strips of paper and I'm going to place them along the bottom edge, and that's that lovely blue snowflake patterned paper. I'm then bringing in the other strips of paper because we have one pattern paper that is all different repeating patterns, and so you can cut those up and use them as borders on your card. I'm just attaching a thin strip of the deep or dark purple cardstock from our cardstock in the kit. So I'm placing a thin bead of glue around the outside edges of the bordered paper and a little bit in the center to make sure it's attached, and then I'll just press it down firmly. Now this is where my card's a little bit different to that on the inspiration card. I'm bringing in a Love from Lizzie silver glitter peel off, and I just felt that I wanted some clear definition between where the pattern paper was finishing and where I was then going to add in my die cut image. So here I have cut from dark grey the snow globe outline, and then to give it a little bit more dimension I've also cut the snow globe from white cardstock. So I'm just going to layer those on top of each other and make sure they line up nice and neatly, and that if any glue comes out it gets wiped up. So that's the positioning of the snow globe on the card, and I'm happy with how it's sitting. There's enough room at the top of the card for the snow globe to sit in nicely. So we'll glue that on, and you can see to the left that I have stamped out the Hello Winter sentiment from the stamp set using Wilted Violet Distress ink, and I'm just going to add my glue to the back there, and I'm not putting a second layer of cardstock behind it. I just want that slight indentation, and then make sure it's all pressed down firmly. I'm going to come in with the little decorative piece that goes underneath the snow globe area, and we'll pop that on, and then I'm going to come in with the peel offs again. I just wanted a little bit more separation between the pieces of the snow globe. Now I want to add some finishing touches using the Pink and Main, it's not Glossy Accent, it's got a different name, and it's a little thinner than Glossy Accents, meaning it will spread better as well. And this awesome product was included with our December kit, so that was awesome to actually receive a bonus gift. And not only did we receive the gloss, we also received the brand new embossing powder tool, which is a fabulous brush, and it comes with its own refill powder too, so you don't have to worry about how you're going to refill it when it does eventually run out. So that's an awesome bonus for the Christmas kit this year too. Okay, so I am currently going along and just putting a very thin layer of our gloss on top, and once I've covered all my mittens, I'll just go back and check that I haven't got any air bubbles or that I haven't missed any spots with the glaze. So here's a comparison of the two cards completed. Well, actually one card and the inspiration card for the kit. I did decide that I liked the idea of rounded corners, so I'm using my corner chomper there, the largest size. I decided the smaller size wasn't a large enough curve, and I just think that looks nice with the snow globe as well. Card 4, I'm using the same really bright, pretty background paper, and I've come in using the stamps in our kit, and I have gone ahead and pulled out all the little snowflakes and big snowflakes and embossed that onto the pattern paper using a pastel pink embossing powder. And I really like the way the snowflakes look embossed onto that pattern paper. Now I was just showing you there that I've taken some of the mitten paper in our kit and I've cut it into a shape that will fit into basically the outline of where those purple check lines are. So I prepared that mitten paper by going over each of the mittens hearts with some of the touch of gloss. Now I'm just pulling in my sentiment, which I've got popped up on a little bit of foam tape, and I am going to attach that to the point of the mitten paper, and so the fishtail banner comes to the end. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with these gorgeous enamel dots, and they have the prettiest glitter inside of them. I know the ones on the end look like browny green, but they're actually a nice grey to match in with the grey of the pattern paper and cardstock as well. So they are actually prettier than they look there on screen. So I've added those enamel dots, and that's card 4 finished. For today's last card, I've taken the really pretty, I know I keep saying pretty, but it's really pretty snowflake background, and it's got all the pinks and blues and purples on it. And I've cut that to be the full size of the A2 card front. I've then taken another piece of pattern paper with the stripes, and I've cut that so that there's about a ½ inch showing of the background paper, the snowflake paper underneath. Now I'm going to take some Moon Dust Silver Love from Lizzie peel-offs, and I'm going to add that to both edges of the striped paper just to help give the definition to the edge of that strip. And if you haven't used peel-offs before, they're very easy and very forgiving, so if you don't get it quite straight, it's quite easy to lift them back up and reposition them. And then it's just a matter of snipping off the excess parts and always making sure you keep those little bits, because they definitely do come in handy down the track. Now I've taken our sample pot of embossing powder in winter green, and I've embossed 2 of our snowflakes with that onto the grade cardstock in the kit. And it's really pretty. It's a beautiful colour, and then the silver glitter in it is just gorgeous. Now for those snowflakes, I have popped them up on foam tape and added some adhesive glue to it as well to make sure it stays in place. And then I've also got some tiny little hearts from the heart stamp in our set, and I've stamped them out 3 times and popped them up on a little piece of foam tape, and I'm going to add those to my snowflake. And I'm going to create sort of a snowflake mandala here, or dream catcher. So there are my embossed pieces. Now I'm going to come in with some of the iridescent sequins in our kit, and I'm adding those around where I've got the hearts, so they look like they're little gems or beads connecting the hearts to the snowflakes. And there's lots of really nice, they're not sequins, they're more like confetti pieces, and there's lots of beautiful colours in the set of sequins that we were given. Now to finish off my card, I'm going to take a glue dot, which can be a little cantankerous to take off, but I've sort of squished it into a little ball so that I can then press my little pink organza ribbon to the top of my large snowflake. There is my sentiment, and I've cut one end on an angle and popped up both of the end pieces of the sentiment with a couple layers of double-sided tape and popped it over top of that snowflake. And there's that card finished. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the 5 cards I've made and shared with you today. I think the Pink and Main Crafty Courtyard kit is awesome value. It's always very high quality product, and it's always very fun to work with. Again, thank you for joining me. Please come back again soon and leave me a thumbs up and subscribe as well if you'd like to. Thanks very much. Bye bye for now.